Why energy efficiency at work? Well, energy efficiency is just plain smart business. It does provide you with direct bottom line savings. Also, if you didn't know, the Inflation Reduction Act passed a few years ago includes $86 billion for energy efficiency actions, whether this be, insulation, new equipment, or even replacing with adding in renewable energy. The time has never been better to start or revisit your energy efficiency program at work, because they're practically giving money away. Some of that money still has yet to trickle down to the state level, but some states are definitely making moves in this space. Also, energy performance is increasingly becoming an area of regulation for businesses. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but instead of regulating greenhouse gas emissions directly, states are taking the approach of creating more stringent building and energy codes that businesses must adhere to. So some other added benefits, as an energy efficient business, you may choose to go after certain certifications or just highlight your energy savings, which again helps build the narrative of you running a responsible business. And studies have shown that the vast majority of customers want to buy from responsible businesses. So you may even get some new business there. Also, whether at work or at home, a well-insulated building is just more comfortable. And so it's better quality of life for workers. And also, the more energy efficient you are, the less energy you use. We've seen crazy price swings, especially with natural gas, with everything going on in the world. And so just making sure you have stability there, as well as, electrifying is a great option, but just thinking about your energy mix and how you're using energy smartly can help insulate you from rising energy prices. So where do you start? As a small business owner, I know you have a lot on your plate, but first things first is you want to consider your energy mix. So just think about the different types of energy coming into your facility. Electricity, maybe natural gas, and if you are more of an industrial or manufacturing facility, you may have diesel generator or even diesel storage on site. So these are all areas of energy consumption that your business needs to consider. You can see here that natural gas is used mostly for space heating and things like cooking, whereas electricity applies all over the facility for space heating, cooling, and ventilation. So HVAC is a really big focus with energy efficiency, as well as lighting. So it's just a good exercise to start thinking about what sources of energy your business uses. Then you want to check, are you in compliance? So building energy performance standards, or even in rare cases, full building electrification, is becoming more popular across the US. You can see from the state climate policy dashboard, the states in dark blue to black have more climate policies passed or in progress than the light blue. So check what state or states your facilities are located in, and this will help you see what's coming down the line in terms of building energy performance standards or other greenhouse gas disclosure requirements. Then probably the most fun part is assessing finances. So as I said, energy efficiency it's a win for you as a business, it's a win for utilities, it's a win for governments, and there are programs that reflect that. So this is probably the biggest tip that I'm going to give today. As a consultant, I use this database to help my clients all the time, and I'm giving away this information for free because it's just so great. But I go to the Desire database, and this is the database of state incentives for renewables and efficiency. So there's a couple of different kinds of incentives available. There may be loans, grants, rebates, or tax credits. Loans is fairly straightforward, but for example, installing solar at a facility on a property can be quite capitally intensive. So there are loans or grants to help with that. Grants if you're a nonprofit or state or government-owned facility, you can apply for grants to help cover that upfront cost. There are definitely rebates galore that are very easy to access. And rebates is either the utility will heavily discount the work being done up front, or you get a check in the mail after the fact. And then also tax credits. For example, if you're an individual and you buy an electric vehicle, you get a tax credit back on whatever taxes you pay. So these are the 4 types of incentives that are available. And when you go to Desire, you just type in your zip code or wherever your facility is located, and it will come up with all the different programs as well as policies. So you do have to do a little bit of sorting to find really the rebate programs are what I connect clients with the most. So there's going to be different rebate programs through gas and electric providers. So just look for those and start following those links. So the next step is once you're at your gas or electric utility provider website, you will find that they have business programs pages, and on those pages is where you can connect with service providers. And in order to qualify for these rebates, typically you need to do an energy audit first. So they'll send someone in. If you're lucky, you can find a service provider to do a full energy audit, looking at refrigeration, lighting, HVAC, but sometimes you may need to work with multiple service providers. And the good news is that these energy audits are usually free, but they're going to assess, for example, your lights, pull together the cost, the savings, as well as the rebate estimates for you. Now, maybe you do the energy audit, maybe you do want to do some things in-house, but anyway, these are the low-hanging fruit, really, that even if you don't get an energy audit, if you start looking at these things, you're going to start bringing your utility bill down. This chart here by the U.S. Energy Agency is very reflective of what I see in real life. HVAC, so heating, ventilation, cooling, that alone is typically 50% or more of a business's energy use and therefore costs. But also lighting is a big one. And then depending on the type of your business, equipment, refrigeration, what have you. Refrigeration is interesting. It's twofold. So you need electric, usually you're plugging in your freezer to run the equipment, but then also older outdated refrigeration systems can leak. And so that is actually greenhouse gas aerosols released directly to the atmosphere. So there are also programs for replacing refrigeration equipment out there specifically. But really the top 5 energy efficiency opportunities that I see are LED and lighting upgrades, improved insulation, so working on your building envelope or even new windows if it's a historic building, and then really getting into HVAC tune-ups, duct sealing, it leaks, putting in deadbands so you're not fluctuating as much. Depending on the size of your facility, they may recommend variable frequency drives, really so you're at a more stable level of HVAC rather than it heating, cooling all the time. You want to get as close to stable as you can. And that's also where smart thermostats or even things like occupancy sensors can come in to integrate into your building management system. Also energy efficiency appliances, so that's refrigeration, could be stoves, could be computers. There's a lot of different Energy Star certified appliances out there for which you can get rebates for as well. Then, of course, there's the greenhouse gas footprint. So if you're working with me, I'm going to tie this work back to your greenhouse gas footprint. As I said before, building energy performance standards are coming down the line for smaller businesses, and that is because we need to start mitigating our greenhouse gas footprint. So Sometimes, depending on your state, you may also be required to report or calculate a greenhouse gas footprint annually, and energy efficiency is one of the first things that you should do to start bringing those numbers down. So a carbon footprint is a nice supplemental metric to these programs. Okay, in closing, I'm going to share a case study of a small business that I worked with in Maryland. So this was actually just lighting. So the electric company sent out an energy auditor. She assessed all the lights. She made recommendations for replacement. You can see that the work here would have cost $4,600. But right off the bat, the incentive was almost 4,000. So she basically only had to pay $700 to get all new lights for the whole restaurant, which is also known as $1,200 in savings every year. So in just 6 months, this project has paid for itself through energy savings. And in 10 years, that business is saving nearly $13,000 in electric costs alone. Also, another side benefit is she said, all the new lights in the kitchen, they look great. That's the health department wants, clean, bright light in the kitchen. And so that was another just added benefit of working environment through this program. Then you get a nice certificate of completion, and you can share that with your customers or post it on your social media and help build out the story of your responsible business. Nice feel-good moment. So how can sustainability solutions help your business? Well, I like to act as a one-stop shop. So I know these facilities and facility managers or business owners, I know you have a lot going on. These things are usually pretty straightforward, but it's just one more thing on your list. And so I act as the coordinator. I will do an incentive assessment for your business. I will be that energy auditor coordinator and just work with the service provider on managing dates and looking at spec sheets and other communications for you. And then also, if needed, I can calculate your greenhouse gas footprint as part of that. So my small business special going on now through the end of the year is just $79. So if you're a small business under 10 employees and you want to look and start considering an energy efficiency program, please reach out to me, and I'm sure even if we don't work together, I can give you a few good extra tips there. So thank you so much for tuning in this month. Again, I'm Hannah Nickerson with Sustainability Solutions. You can find me on the web, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, where I have a little bit more fun. And I also have a newsletter if you want to stay in touch